Hello and welcome to another first Descendant video. So patch 1.2.2 is live 19th of December, and there's some big changes here, improvements, nerfs, buffs, things like that. Now I won't read through the whole thing. I'll show you the important things in the game because I've tested these, and yeah, some impressive changes here and one or two much needed buffs. So first up, the Void Intercept bosses. We were worried that Infernal Walker would get nerfed. They haven't touched Infernal Walker. They have, however, nerfed Molten Fortress and Gluttony. Both of these can now be done solo, private, and they have all been nerfed quite hard. Like Gluttony basically does less damage, takes longer to go into frenzy. All of that has just been made so that if you have a decent Descendant, so in this video here in the background, I have my mobbing Frena, not even the bossing Frena, and I was able to take them out comfortably on my first attempt. The other good thing with the Molten Fortress fight is that the pylons, when they come down and you select them, they don't get changed after you have set them properly. So that makes it a lot easier, because this was one of the mechanics that was bothering a lot of newer players in groups, because you would set it and then go to the next pylon, and then the bombs and the things would drop and mess up the setting. So that is good. I like that, but they have nerfed them quite hard, so they don't go into frenzy that often. One rotation should be enough. Like even in my attempt here with Frena, one frenzy was enough, and I got a Gluttony easily. Molten Fortress. Same with Gluttony, not too difficult. They got frenzied once, and the second attempt they were done. So you can now do them solo. If you have a lot of amorphous materials like me, this would make life a little easier, because for me, I don't mind public or private. The issue is like the matchmaking can take a lot of time. So loading into Albion, then going into the fight, waiting for the people, this just saves a lot more time. Next up, let's talk about reactors. This is a change we have been waiting for a long time. It's finally here. So in the past, what used to happen was, if we had, say, a toxic reactor, we would occasionally get rolls like fire boost ratio or chill boost ratio, unrelated element getting a boost on the wrong reactor. They have now fixed that. So for example, if you go out to get this reactor, the electric fusion tingling mixture reactor for Sharen, this will not roll with anything other than electric, the first attribute. The second one, that can still be random. That's what I see here. For example, here, if you see this one, electric and singular, and the boost we have is dimension and fusion. Now the reason for that, in my opinion, is that the second item, there are multiple descendants that use more than one at the same time. For example, Bunny uses electric and singular, electric and fusion. Sharen uses electric fusion and electric dimension, and then Ines is coming out in January. She might have electric and tech perhaps, or something like that. So the second will still roll different things, but the main one will not mess things up now. So let me see this one. Look at this. So fusion and tech. So this could be a option for the other Descendant, and you can see here this has singular. So at least the main element will not be a mismatch. So this should help cut down the reactor farming significantly. Now let's talk about buffs to Descendants, and there is one meaningful change to Sharen. Now, if you saw my build video for Sharen, I mentioned that with the ambushed mod, the duration of the cloak was too low. Normally the duration is 10 seconds. With the ambushed mod, they had dropped it down to 4 seconds. And that was making it difficult to do the skill and then go back to cloaking and not use any other skills. You just had enough time to do your main skill, the third one, and then go back into cloak. And if you missed it, you would be out of cooldown, then you'll have to go into cooldown again. One minor change here, and it is a lot better. So what they've done is they've increased the duration from 4 seconds to 6 seconds, giving us plenty of time. Now you can see with my same build, I have a cooldown of 3.8 and a duration of 6.3, significant difference. So now what you can do is you can basically go into cloak, do your third, kill the enemies, use your first, and still have time to do this. Before, you barely had time to do your third ability and then get back into cloak. This will make clearing dungeons with ambushed much better. And this was like the main issue I had with ambushed. They have kind of fixed that now. It is now even better. The other Descendant that got huge buffs with this patch is Keelan. Now with Keelan, I hadn't finished my build. I had just barely looked into it. And the main issue for me was the cooldowns. cooldowns were not good enough, and we needed a lot of things to reduce the cooldown to make him viable. However, they have done exactly that with this patch. So what they've done is his third ability, the Septic Gust. This used to be 60 seconds. They have now dropped it down to 35. And the other ability, which was Tremor, this was initially 80 seconds. It's down to 60 seconds. So a big change here. And also with the skill module, Focus on Prey, now the acidic decay stack has been increased. The levels have been increased, more power basically. And so a lot of cooldowns, a little bit of a buff, and I think he should be a lot more viable. I think I'll start building him now because it was just very difficult to get the cooldowns right with him initially. So they have looked into that. So now he should be a lot more usable. He was already pretty good. So now this is now a big improvement, meaningful change. Now, next up, there's one other change in the special operations. So what they've done is they now have an option for private. So if you want more of a challenge, or if you don't want to go in a public lobby and see ultimate Frenas destroying everything, you can do this in private, and it is there. And also, they have dropped the immunity orbs from some of the commanders in various missions. I won't read out the whole thing, but 400% dungeons, fortress, outpost, things like that. Not all of them have been removed. I did go and check one or two. There's still some there with the orb mechanics, but quite a few of them in Kingston, Sterile Land, Vespers, Fortress, they have removed that. The other thing they've added now is if you want to do the outpost, or you don't want to do the outpost, I should say, for farming the amorphous materials, the amorphous materials that you were getting from a particular outpost, you will be able to get those from the infiltrations within the same map. So for example, this one here, Corrupted Zone, this one had the Sharen Blueprint 110 AC, I believe. So if you wanted that one, you can see it's not available here. You can get it from the 400% in the Heaven and the Old Mystery. So if you go to the terminal here, and if you go into Hagios, so you can see here the Heaven. Initially they would have 2 tabs, now they have 6 tabs, and these ones, remember, these ones were only available, the ones with the stringy sort of look, these were only available in the Outpost. Now you can get them here as well. So this is the 109 AC, this is for Ultimate Sharon and hand cells, and then you have this one here, 110 AC. This is the one that I think was in Corrupted Zone before, for the stabilizer. So now you can just do the infiltration mission and then go back to the reactor. You don't have to go to the boss. You still go to the fusion reactor, but you can get the amorphous materials, because in the infiltration missions, they are guaranteed. In the outpost, sometimes you might do 5, 6, 7, 10 runs and not get anything. So this makes it easier to get the amorphous materials now. Now, besides this, there are 1 or 2 UI and miscellaneous improvements. I won't go over the bug fixes and the other things, because that is just quality of life stuff that you'll notice, or if you're struggling with 1 or 2 things. So the other 2 things that I do want to mention is, now when you are researching something and you were to go into the access info and look at what is being done, you can actually see the time remaining for the research. So if there is something cooking with an ice, you don't have to go there. You can get an idea of how long something will take before it's ready. So this one you can see is going to be ready in 4 minutes. You can see it from here. The other thing is they have added a quick turn feature, especially for Keelan here. So, and if you're a controller player, you can go into the options menu, go to controller, go into the user settings, all the way down. You'll have to assign a button for quick turn. This is up to you. You have to set it. There is no default thing. So if you play on controller, this should be a good option for you to make using Keelan better. So yeah, that is the main things I wanted to cover in the patch notes. They've also done changes to like making the Valby evolving skin easier to get and stuff like that. I don't have that one, so I can't show you that. But other than that, there's a lot of quality of life fixes, UI improvements, bug fixes, things like that. But the major thing is the void bosses have been nerfed. The outpost farming is kind of changed. Now you can do it for the infiltration missions. And of course, the reactors have been improved greatly. So that is it. Keelan got a big buff in my opinion. So I'll be working on him next. Got some color scheme going here. Because he's toxic, I went with green. And yeah, I'll try and work on Keelan now that he has had this big update. And hopefully he's fun to use now.